Good morning everyone. Today we will go for the anatomy of a urinary system. In that, mainly the anatomy of a kidney. Okay, urinary system mainly it consists the kidney, ureter, bladder, and the urethra. Okay, the organs of renal system or urinary system. It in human beings it contains the it have the two kidneys, two ureters, one urinary bladder, urethra. Not many structures, but they are very important. Okay, these are the system. Urinary system is mainly contains the kidney, ureter, bladder, and the urethra. Okay, now in briefly I will tell the anatomy of a kidney and their histology of a kidney. Okay, mainly the kidney has the four functions. One is filtration, another one is excretion, another one secretion of some hormones, and regulation. Okay, regulation of a blood pressure, like that. Okay, this is the main four functions of a kidney. One is a filtration, excretion, secretion, and regulation. Okay, these are the functions of a kidney. You can go for the next slide. Now first know the it is kidney is a look like a bean shaped. Okay, and bean shaped, and it is located, and it is a retroperitoneal organ or situated on the posterior abdominal wall. Okay, now you can go for the position and location of the kidney. Kidney are pair of excretory organ situated on the posterior abdominal wall above the waist. It extends from the upper border of tutel to the L3 vertebra, partially protected by the 11th and 12th pair of ribs. Okay, you can see here in this picture. Okay, 12th rib, okay, 10th to 12th rib are partially protects behind the kidney. Okay, and it is bean shaped. Okay, and it is present from the T12 to L3 vertebrae. Okay, you can see here it is present T12 to L3 vertebrae, and it is located in the posterior abdominal wall. In this picture you can see as posterior abdominal wall. Okay, this is a anterior abdominal wall, and this is a posterior abdominal, and these are situated or present in the posterior or located in the posterior abdominal. Then this is a peritoneum, and this is a retroperitoneal organ. Okay, that's why it is situated in the posterior abdominal wall. It is look like a bean shaped, and it is present from the in general T12 to the L3 vertebra, and it is protected by the T12 12th and T10 ribs. It is projected behind by the ribs, and these are the paired retroperitoneal bean shaped organ located in the dorsal upper lumbar region, and it also said as just above the wrist. It is a kidney is are situated, encased in the renal fat or fat. The renal fat only, because of renal fat the kidneys are situated in their normal position, because the fat is give the shape and position to the kidney. Okay, and it is held the kidney by this fat. There is so much fat in the surrounds the kidney. Okay, the main function of that fat is one is protection, another one is held or hold the kidney in their normal position. The right kidney is slightly lower than the left, because the liver occupies the considerable space on the right side superior to the kidney. Okay, and these are the retroperitoneal organs. Okay, you can see here how the kidney is protected by the vertebrae, by the ribs. Okay, it is from the T10 to T12 ribs. Okay, 12th rib and 10th rib. Okay, it is present, and it is where it is present from the vertebrae at the T12 vertebrae to L3 vertebrae. These are present. Okay, and these are present just above the waist, or these are present at the lumbar region, both. Okay, and these are the retroperitoneal organ. Can go for the next slide. In that we can go for the surface marking or surface marking of a kidney. It is also say as a Morris parallelogram. Okay, two horizontal lines drawn from the T11 and L3 spine, and two vertical lines from the from midline. Okay, one is from 2.5 centimeter, another one is 9 centimeter from the midline plane. Okay, towards the lateral side. First one is 2.5 centimeter and second line is from the 9 centimeter. The hilum of the kidney, it is at the 5 centimeter from median plane, near the level of transpyloric plane. Okay, and little above it in the left and little below it in the right. Can go for that. It is say as a Morris parallelogram. There is two horizontal lines draw line from the T11 and L3 spine of the vertebrae, and two vertical lines. One is from 2.5 centimeter from the midline, another one is 9.5 centimeter from the midline. You can see here are the two lines. This is a T11. This is a one line, horizontal line. Another at the level of the L3. This is another horizontal line, and here this is a midline. From there, okay, this is a transpyloric plane. Okay, from here 5 centimeter there is a hilum of the kidney on the lateral side also, on the right side also and left side also. Okay, just left side just there is just below, and left side there is little up, and at the 9 centimeter you can draw the another one line here, and at the 2.5 centimeter from the midline. Okay, here like that. This is a Morris parallelogram of a kidney. Okay, now we can go for the height and weight of the kidney. Each kidney is 11 centimeter long, 6 centimeter broad and 3 centimeter thick. Weight is about 150 gram in male and 135 gram in females. Okay, 11 centimeter length, 6 centimeter broad and 3 centimeter in thickness. Okay, now kidney has the two surfaces, two ends and two borders. Okay, which are the two surfaces? Anterior surface and posterior surface. Two extremities or two ends on upper end and the lower end. Okay, and medial border and the lateral border. These are the parts, or you can say as a kidney has the mainly morphologically external features, in that it has a two surfaces, anterior surface, posterior surface, medial border, lateral border, upper end or superior pole and lower pole. Okay, and medial border is lesser than the lateral border. Okay, in that you can see the posterior surface, lateral border, lower pole, upper pole or superior extremity and inferior extremity. Okay, it has the posterior surface and anterior surface. It is 11 centimeter long, 6 centimeter in broad and 3 centimeter in thickness. Okay, and medial border is notched. Okay, you can notch, like you can see here notches. Okay, you can see here kinkings, medial border, and medial border is lesser than the lateral border. And now protection of the kidney or coverings of the kidney. Okay, it has mainly by the three layers of connective tissue. Okay, one is inner layer, that is a renal capsule. Middle layer, it is adipose capsule. outer layer is renal fascia. Okay, these are the main three protections of the kidney: inner renal capsule, middle pre-renal fat, fascia, okay, then extra renal fat. Okay, like that you also say that. In that mainly it has three layers, mainly divided into three layers. One renal capsule, just above the renal capsule there is a fat is there. In that two types of fat, okay, middle layer adipose tissue and capsule. Another one is fascia. That fascia is fascia of Gerota, and outer another one is pararenal fat or extra renal fat, we can say that, or retroperitoneal space. Okay, like that protections of a kidney is there. You can show in next slide. Color and shape of the kidney: it is red color and bean shaped. Capsules or coverings of the kidney: innermost is fibrous capsule, just above that perirenal fat, renal fascia, or this is also fascia of Gerota, and pararenal fat. Okay, peri means just surrounds, para means outside, peri means just around, periphery. Okay, peritoneum stretched around, like that. Peri means which is the stretched just above the renal. Para means outside in you can like that. Okay, can go for the next slide. Okay, in that we can go for the what can say the what protection. This is a renal capsule. Okay, and this is a fatty layer. Okay, middle fatty, innermost fatty layer, and there is another one fascia. This is the fibrous fascia. This is a renal capsule, perirenal fat, then this is a fascia of Gerota, then this is a adrenal. This is a, you can see white color like this. This is as a fascia of Gerota. Can go for next slide. In that you can understand. This is the kidney, like that. Okay, just around that there is a one capsule. Okay, it is say as a true capsule because it is adherent to the kidney, completely adherent to the kidney. Okay, okay, and another one is false capsule. You can say that is a fascia of Gerota. Okay, you can say as a false capsule. Okay, you can say just above the capsule or true capsule you can see is a fat. Okay, this fat is say as a what, perinephritic fat or perirenal fat. Okay, and just above that you can say the one fascia. Okay, this is as a fascia of Gerota or renal fascia. Okay, and just above the renal fascia you can see is this is a fat. This is a association retroperitoneal fat or paranephritic fat or pararenal fat, and this is a retroperitoneal space. Okay, or posterior abdominal wall. Okay, this is a posterior abdominal wall, and this is the fat. This fat, okay, this paranephritic fat is do the these paranephritic fat and perinephritic fat do the work like a cushings to the kidney, and is protects from the any external trauma. And this paranephritic fat helps to holds the kidney in their normal position. Because of the another one is this fascia. Okay, helps to, or false capsule. Okay, it helps to move the kidney during the respiration. Okay, can see in this picture this is a kidney. Okay, this is a kidney, and what you can see this fascia, this is as a true capsule. Okay, what you can see this fascia. Okay, this fascia is a renal fascia of Gerota. Okay, and this is a retroperitoneal space, and this is another one is fascia. Okay, and this is renal artery or veins are enters in the this stem, and this is a peritoneum. Okay, that's why it is behind the peritoneum. That's why it is as a retroperitoneal. Okay, you can go for the next slide. Because of true capsule and false capsule, renal are movable. Okay, can see here in this picture, this is a kidney. Okay, this is a peritoneum. Okay, this is a kidney, this is a peritoneum, this is a perirenal fat. Here is a perirenal fat is there. Okay, and this is the anterior renal fascia. Okay, this is present anterior side, that's why in this picture you can see it. This is present anteriorly, that's why it is as anterenal fascia, and this fascia present posteriorly, that's why it is as a posterior renal fascia. In this picture you can see. Okay, this is a anterior renal fascia and this is a posterior renal fascia. Okay, like that. And here you can got the pararenal space or pararenal fat. Okay, and here you can see the pararenal fat. Now we can go for the coverings of the kidney. Okay, fibrous capsule. It is very adherent, or it is also say as a true capsule of the kidney. Okay, it is surrounds the kidney and is closely applied to the outer surface of the kidney. Perirenal fat. It covers the fibrous capsule. Okay, and renal fascia or perirenal fascia. The condensation of connective tissue that lies outside the perirenal fat and encloses the kidney and the suprarenal gland. Then pararenal fat. It is lies external to the renal fascia and is part of the retroperitoneal fat. Okay. In that mainly 2, 3, 4 structures or means perirenal fat, renal fascia and pararenal fat. These are structures supports the kidney and hold them in position on the posterior abdominal wall. In this picture you can see that clearly. Okay, this is a kidney. Okay, this is kidney and it is closely adherent to the true capsule. This is a perirenal fat. Okay, and that this is a renal fascia. This is the anterior renal fascia and this is the posterior renal fascia, and that fascia further covered by the retroperitoneal space. Okay, this is about the our coverings of a kidney. Okay, now what renal fascia. Okay, the collagen bundles or renal fascia and perinephritic and paranephritic fats along with the binding provided by the renal vessels and ureter and holds the kidney in the relatively fixed position at the level of the T12 to L3. However, the movements of the kidney occurs during the respiration and when the changing from the supine to the erect position and the vice versa. Okay, the kidney is surrounded by the mainly the renal capsule. This protects the kidney. Adipose capsule or it is a fatty tissue surrounding the renal capsule. It protects the kidney and keeps them in place. Renal fascia or fascia of Gerota, a connective tissue layer that helps to adhere the kidney to surrounding structures. Okay, you can see here in this picture clearly. Okay, you can understand. This is a kidney. This is a true capsule. Above that, this is a perinephritic fat, and this is a fascia of Gerota, and this is a retroperitoneal space, and this is paid for the paranephritic fat or retroperitoneal fat. This fat is held the kidney in their normal position, and this fat and it looks like a do the pushing to the kidney. And shock absorber, we also say as the shock absorber to the kidney. And this fascia renal fascia help to in the this kidney to joints or attached to the other structures, surrounding structures of the organs or structures of the abdomen. Okay, and this is a peritoneum. Okay, and these are structures, and this fascia only it connects or give the relations with the attachments to the surrounding structures. Okay, behind the fascia renalis is a considerable quantity of a fat which constitute the paranephrotic body or paranephrotic fat. The kidney is held in position partly through the attachment of the renal fascia and partly by the opposition of the neighboring viscerals. Can go for the next slide. Okay, like this the paranephrotic fat is arranged around the kidney, and this fat held in position one. Another one is the fascia also held the position and helps to attachment to the other surrounding structures. Okay, like that paranephrotic fat and fascia held the kidney in normal position, and they have the relations or attachments to the other viscerals. Okay, like that. Capsules are covering already I explained. Fibrous capsule, perirenal, pararenal, renal fascia. Fascia of Geroda is also divides in the anterior fascia of renal fascia is say as a fascia of Toldot, and posterior is say as a fascia of Zuckerkandi, and pararenal fat or paranephrotic fat. Now we can go for the poles or extremities of the kidney. Upper pole, it attached has a relation with the or covered with the suprarenal gland. Lower pole, it is 2.5 centimeter above the iliac crest. Medial border, it is above the hilum adrenal gland, and below the hilum it is a ureter. Medial border, where it is the upper hilum, from there adrenal gland was starts, and below hilum there it is a ureter was starts at the medial border. On the lateral border, it is right lobe of the liver attachment, right side right to kidney, hepatic flexure of the colon. On left side it attaches to the spleen and descending colon. You can see here in this. Okay, this is the medial border. From the upper border of the medial border starts the what, you can see the adrenal gland, and above the hilum at the medial border starting of the here adrenal gland, and below the hilum there is a starting of the ureter. This is the one of the demarcation of a medial border and the hilum. Okay, the hilum, it is the concave medial border. Okay, or deep fissure on the kidney where the renal blood vessels and lymphatic vessels, ureter and nerves are enter. Okay, hilum, it is the concavity of a medial border or deep fissure of the kidney where the renal vessels, lymph vessels and nerves are enters, and ureter outers the, okay, and enter the nerves, vessels and renal blood vessels. Okay, and here this is a hilum. This is the hilum, and it is present at the medial border. Okay, and this is the hilum is the concavity of the medial border, and from here the blood vessels, nerves, lymphs and ureters are enters and outers. And just behind the hilum of the kidney there is one sinus. Sinus means this is a space within the hilus. Kidney receive the blood vessels and nerves, and this renal sinus is filled with the fat. Okay, and this renal sinus is also say as a cavity. Okay, this sinus is also say as a, sinus means it is a cavity, the cavity or space within the hilus of the kidney. Okay, in general sinus means this is a cavity. Okay, cavity like structures of tube. Sinus means hollow structure or cavity in the what any one structure or chamber. Okay, I can say like that. Okay, renal sinus, it is a cavity or hollow structure present, which is present just behind the hilum. Okay, and or space within the hilus, and it is receive the blood vessels and nerves. Okay, and it is filled with the fat in the renal. And the external features of the kidney, in that what are the important structure or hilum, why it is important, because there is the entrance of a blood vessels, veins. Okay, and renal pelvics or ureter will come outside. Okay, because of that there is one arrangement is there. You can say already just above the hilum of the medial border there is a starting of the adrenal gland. You can say this is a hilum. Okay, this is a hilum. Okay, and this is a medial border also. Just above the hilum, this is the hilum. Just above hilum there is a suprarenal gland or adrenal gland, and just below the hilum, okay, you can say this is a below, and this is a ureter starting. This is the like that. Hilum is very important for landmark for the identification of some structures also. And there is one arrangement is there. Okay, in the hilum there is a ureter, then vein, then artery, like that. Okay, in that you can see that in there, in the hilum entrance from upwards to downwards, first is the artery is there, then vein is there, then ureter is there. From upwards to first artery, vein, then ureter. Okay, in the hilum only this is some arrangement is there in the hilum of the kidney. By that we can easily make out the structures. Okay, the hilum of the kidney, it is nothing but the concave medial border of the kidney. Structures enter or leave through the hilum from the anterior to posterior. When you go for the anterior to posterior, then vein will come. You can see in there, in this, from anterior to posterior, vein, artery, then ureter. If you go for the serial wise from upward to downward, then artery, vein, then ureter. Okay, in that you can see here, first you can say the anterior to posterior. From when you go for the superior to downwards, then artery, vein, then ureter. If you go for the anterior to posterior, vein, artery, then ureter. Okay, this is the arrangement in the hilum of the kidney. Okay, first you can see the renal vein, then renal artery, then pelvis, then ureter, then renal nerves, and the lymphatics. This is the arrangement in the external features of the hilum. Okay, you can go for the next slide. Hilum means where the some structures enters and leaves from the organ, and that part is said as a hilum. Okay, and these structures are passes and leaves from the hilum. Now we can go for the renal sinus. Okay, renal sinus means it is a concave cavity or hollow structure present in the kidney, and it is filled with the fat. Okay, you can see here in this picture renal sinus. All the structures pass through the hilum in the addition to small amount of fat, and the pelvis are found in the sinus. The renal sinus is a cavity within the kidney which is occupied by the renal pelvis, renal calyxes, blood vessels, nerves, and fat. The renal hilum extends into the large cavity within the kidney occupied by the renal vessels, minor renal calyxes, major renal calyxes, renal pelvis, and some adipose tissue. And in it is Latin it is as a sinus renalis. Okay, this is part is as a sinus. Here what are the some vessels will enters. Okay, renal artery, renal vein, renal lymph nodes, renal nerves, all are present here. And this is a major, minor calyx, and major calyx are present. Renal pelvis is formed here. Okay, in the renal sinus. Okay, and most of time what are the stones are there, renal stones are present in the renal sinuses only. In short, it is a hall to the kidney. How in home hall is there, that same it is a hall of the kidney. Now we can go for the peritoneal relations to the of the kidney. The kidneys are retroperitoneal. Certain areas of each kidney are covered in the anterior by the peritoneum, where others are the bare area. Bare area means where the peritoneum is not covers. Okay, now we can go for the anterior relations of the right kidney and left kidney. Anterior superiorly adrenal gland, it has the liver, bare area and hepatorenal pouch, duodenum, pancreas, right colic fissure and jejunum. This is the anterior relation to the right kidney. Now we can go for the left. In their adrenal, stomach, spleen, pancreas, descending colon and jejunum. You can see here some impressions. First is the on the right side there is a adrenal gland on the superior. On the lateral side, towards the lateral, there is the liver. On the right side or the in the medial side, this is the duodenum, right colic flexure and small intestine. On the left side, you can see at the left renal gland. These are the some anterior relations. Then stomach, then there is spleen also, pancreas at the middle, jejunum and descending colon. Like that, impressions of the anterior impressions. Posterior relationship. Posteriorly, the right and left kidney are almost related to the similar structures because these are situated sit on the posterior abdominal and retroperitoneal organs. Because of that, they has the almost same relationship. Left kidney, it has a diaphragm, costodiaphragmatic recess of the pleura, 11th and 12th rib, last intracostal space, psoas major muscle, quadratus lumbaris muscle, transversus abdominis muscle, subcostal tibial, iliohypogastric and ilioinguinal nerves. Okay, this is the posterior relationship. On the right side, diaphragm, okay, costodiaphragmatic recess of the pleura, 12th rib, intercostal space, psoas major muscle, quadratus lumbaris, transverse abdominis muscle, subcostal muscle, iliohypogastric and ilioinguinal nerve. In this picture, you can see as this is the posteriorly, it is related to the diaphragm here. Okay, and crus of the diaphragm you also say. And here this is the psoas major muscle, quadratus lumbaris, okay, and transverse abdominis. Then there is the ureter. This is the relationship of the kidney. You can see here, this is the posterior relationship of a kidney. This was a diaphragm impression. This is a psoas major muscle impression. This is a quadriceps lumbaris, lumbosa muscles, and this is a transverse abdominis muscle impression. This is a posterior relationship of a kidney. You can go for the next slide. In this you can see here, this is a diaphragm. Okay, this is a diaphragm. You can see here like this. This is a diaphragm. Okay, this is the psoas major muscle. Okay, then this is a quadriceps lumbaris muscle, and this is a transverse abdominis muscle. Okay, like that. Here also this is a diaphragm impression. This is a transverse abdominis muscle, psoas major muscle, and the quadriceps lumbosa muscle. Okay, like that. This is a posterior relationship of a kidney. Okay, can go for the next slide. and that we can go for the gross structures of the kidney. Okay, and then when we can go for the longitudinal section, there are three main areas. Outer one is a fibrous capsule, middle is cortex, and innermost is a medulla. Okay, you can see here this. When you go for the longitudinal section, this is the outermost, this is the cortex, this is a medulla, and this is the inner is the renal pelvis. These are the parts of the kidney. Okay, and go for the next slide. You can see this is a cortex, this is a capsule. Just below the renal capsule there is a cortex. Cortex is present in between the capsule and medulla. Medulla contains the mainly pyramids. Okay, these are up to 18 in number. Okay, and then innermost is the pelvis. Okay, the medulla, it contains the pyramids. There are triangular areas of renal tissue, and in between the pyramids there is gap is there, or sinuses is there, that is say as a renal columns. These are the strippings. These are the strippings and joined together, and these pyramids have the base and apex. Then apex has the renal papillae. These are joined by these strippings and open into the minor calyx of a renal pelvis. These minor calyxes open into the major calyxes. Okay, can go for the next slide. The mainly you can see here there are some structures are there, important structure. You just note it or see. Okay, these are very important structure. Outermost is cortex, capsule. Just below the capsule there is a cortex, and just below the cortex there is medulla. And cortex is medulla, it has the pyramids. Okay, and that pyramids are has the base and apex, and the apex of the pyramids are open into the minor calyx, and these minor calyxes are joins together and forms the major calyx, and each major calyx open as a renal pelvis. Renal pelvis is nothing but a funnel shaped structure that drain the urine. Okay, and gives the some, and this in between the two pyramids there is sinuses is there, that fat of renal sinus that contains the fat. Okay, and in between these pyramids there is a column is there, that is a renal column. Okay, you can go for the next slide. Okay, renal fibrous capsule, it surrounds the kidney, made the dense and fibrous connective tissue, and this capsule only gives the shapes to the kidney. Then what is the cortex? Cortex is a reddish brown layer of tissue immediately below the capsule and out of the side of the pyramids. Medulla, the innermost layer consisting of pale conical shaped striations called renal pyramids. Okay, and there is another one is say as a renal lobule. Renal lobule contains the both or any one section of the pyramid. You can see this the whole section of a cortex, capsule, cortex, pyramid, and calyx, minor calyx. The whole like this section is say as a renal lobule. Okay, or a renal lobe. And renal lobule means this is just above the pyramid, base of the pyramid. Okay, what is the present, that area says a renal lobule, that is on the capsule, cortex, and the base of the pyramid. Okay, the renal pelvis is a funnel shaped structure which act as a receptacle of the urine formed by the kidney. Okay, and in between the major and minor calyxes there is a gap or sinus or hollow structure is there. That hollow structure is say as a renal pelvis, and renal pelvis renal sinus that's filled with the fat. And renal papillae, okay, that renal papillae is nothing but the where is the apex of the pyramid is there, and that renal papillae open into the minor calyx. The papillae is surrounded by the funnel shaped minor calyx. The minor calyx joins to form the major calyx. The major calyx join to form the renal pelvis. This is whole thing is say as a renal pyramid. Okay, like this arrangement of the or renal lobule, you can say as a this is a renal lobule. In the renal lobule there is consist of a what a outermost layer of the renal capsule, and this is the cortex. Okay, just below the renal capsule there is cortex is there, and renal pyramid issues the strippings. These strippings are nothing but these are strippings formed by these nephrons. Okay, and are these duct or connecting ducts. And medulla, it is a consist of a triangular or pyramid shaped lobes. Okay, these are say as a what pyramids, and these papillary ducts or connective ducts joins together and forms the renal papillae. Okay, then papillary ducts, and these renal papillae are open into the minor calyx of the kidney, like that. You can say this is a pyramids. Okay, it is present in the medulla. These strippings are formed because of these nephrons. Okay, and this has a pyramid has the base and apex. Here the apex there is the papillary ducts of the nephrons joins together and forms the renal papillae, and renal papillae opens at the minor calyxes of the kidney. Okay, and these minor calyxes are open into the major calyxes, and these major calyxes are joined together and forms the renal pelvis. Okay, and these whole major calyx, minor calyx and renal pelvis are drained. Okay, or it collects the urine from the pyramids are formed, and that passes to the ureter. Okay, okay, in between the two pyramids there is a gap is there, that is say as a renal columns. In between the two pyramids there is a gap is there, that is say as a renal column. And the sinus, fat in the renal sinuses. Sinus is a cavity in the just below the medulla. Okay, there is cavity is there or hollow structure is there. That hollow structure is connected fat, like that. You can see here this is a hollow structure. That hollow structure or cavity structure is filled with the fat. Okay, like that. These are the medullary pyramids. And this in between the two pyramids there gap is there, that is a renal say as a renal column, and these renal columns have the intratubular arteries and the veins. Okay, capsule, cortex, medulla mainly contains the pyramids. Okay, and between pyramids there are the renal columns. Okay, pyramids are the triangular in shape. It has the base and apex open into the minor calyxes, like that. Okay, in this picture the whole thing renal lobe means renal lobe contains the capsule, cortex, medulla in that pyramid, and the minor calyx and major calyx. Up to this thing is say a renal lobule, and renal lobule means it only contains the capsule, cortex and the base of the pyramid. It is as a renal lobule. Medullary pyramids have a striped appearance due to the presence of many collecting tubules or collecting papillary ducts. The tissue between the pyramids is also part of the cortex and is known as a renal column. Okay. Gross and microscopic anatomy of the kidney with major structures landmarks. They are continued as a kidney lobe. Kidney lobe contains the pyramids, the overlying cortex and the adjacent renal columns. and each kidney contains the 16 to 80 lobes, means 16 to 80 pyramids. Okay, then blood supply of the kidney mainly by the renal artery that divides into the superior segmental artery, inferior suprarenal artery, inferior segmental artery, ureteral branches of the renal artery, anterior superior segmental artery, like that branch and give the blood supply. Then mainly how the blood supply is the renal artery, then into the segmental artery into the lobar artery into the intralobular artery to the acute arteries, then afferent arterioles to the glomerulus, efferent arterioles, peritubular capillaries, arcuate vein, intralobular vein, lobular vein, and renal vein, like that. Each lobar branch further divides as a intralobular, because in between the two lobes, this is the lobar branch and this is the intralobular space or in the renal column. Okay, they have the further give the branches. This branches is as a intralobular branch. Then you can see the arcuate branch, because they are bent, they are look like they are make arches. That's why I say as a arcuate arteries. Okay, that is the arcuate arteries. You can go for the next slide. In that you can see that the renal artery that gives the segmental artery, then it gives the lobar artery, then intralobular artery, arcuate arteries, afferent arterioles to the glomerulus, efferent arterioles to the glomerulus, peritubular capillaries, arcuate veins, intralobular vein, lobar vein, and renal vein. In this picture you can easily make out that this is a renal artery. Okay, that gives the segment. This is maybe upper segment, middle segment, or lower segment, like that. It gives the segmental artery first. Okay, and that further segmental artery gives the branch to the lobar. You can see here, this is the one lobe, this is the cortex. Okay, and this is the pyramid, the capsule, cortex, and one single pyramid is each. This one say as a renal lobe, this is a single lobe, and that gives a one lobe, lobar branch. Okay, that is as a lobar branch. In between the two pyramids there is has a intralobular arteries. You can see here in this picture, here is the two lobes are there and there is a intralobular artery, and each intralobular artery further gives the arcuate arteries. You can see here it is bending or bend like a arch. Okay, that artery says arcuate arteries. These arcuate arteries further gives the branches to the glomerulus arteries. Okay, then peritubular capillaries. This is says a peritubular capillaries, and that peritubular capillaries further joins together and forms the arcuate vein. You see, this is the arcuate vein. These arcuate vein joins together and forms the intralobular vein. This intralobular vein further joins and forms the lobar vein. Each lobar vein joins to form the segmental vein, and segmental vein joins and form the renal vein, and renal vein drain into the inferior vena cava. Like that, it is a blood supply. How it is blood supply? From the renal artery further divided into segmental artery gives the further divided as a lobar artery further divides as a intralobular artery further divides as a arcuate arteries, arcuate artery divides as a glomerulus, efferent arteries, and peritubular capillaries. That peritubular capillaries to arcuate vein to the intralobular vein to the lobar vein to segmental vein into the renal vein. Now we can go for the anatomy of a nephron. Nephron is a functional unit of a kidney. You can say the functional unit of a kidney. I will not go for the detail, only briefly I will tell the anatomy of a nephron. Okay, it is also seen in the physiology also. Okay, and this is a Bowman's capsule. Okay, then glomerulus. This is a proximal distal tubule. This is a descending anal loop. This is a ascending anal loop. This is the distal convoluted tubule, and this is the distal duct or collecting duct. Okay, can go for the next slide. Can say this is a glomerulus, and this is a Bowman's capsule. This is a proximal convoluted tubule. This is a Henle loop, U-shaped distal proximal tube, and this is a collective duct. Okay, and this is the arterioles from the renal artery. Okay, this is afferent and efferent arterioles from the glomerulus. Okay, you can go for the next slide. What is the difference between the nephrons? Most of nephrons present in the cortex of the kidney. Okay, and some are present in the medulla. Okay, Bowman's capsule. Okay, most of all Bowman's capsule, or you can say as a glomerulus, these are most of all 80 to 85 nephrons present in their cortex, and some remaining 15 are present in the medulla. Okay, the cortical, what is the difference between cortical nephrons and medullary nephrons? Okay, cortical nephrons, 85% of the nephrons are in this type. Most of part of the nephrons are in the cortex only. They have the length of Henle loop, or loop of Henle is short, accompanied by the peritubular capillaries network. And what is about juxtamedullary nephrons? These are 50%, and these are present in the medulla, begins at the junction of the cortex and medulla, and these are long. Here the length of the Henle loop is long, and vasa recta are very more. Okay, this is the difference between the cortical nephrons and medullary nephrons. We can go for the next slide. Now in their main, only briefly I will tell. Okay, how the afferent arterioles, efferent arterioles, and filtration. They mainly nephrons do the 4 function. One is the filtration, another one is reabsorption, third one is a secretion, fourth one is a excretion. This is a function of a nephron. Okay, the blood will come, okay, on the pressure, on the osmosis. Okay, here it is filter. There is no any type. Filter means just filter, pass out because of the osmosis. Okay, that blood present in the tubules. It may be proximal convoluted tubule. And secretion, reabsorption. Absorb means it take in the body. Absorb means take in the body. Okay, or take in the cell, in short. Okay, in general I will saying. Okay, reabsorption. Re means further it will absorb to in the cell or in the intracellular space. Okay, here reabsorption, second part. Okay, most of in the proximal convoluted tubule and distal convoluted tubule, reabsorption will occur very so much. Okay, as compared to the other part of the Henle loop, other part of the nephron. Third one is secretion. Secretion means it will come from one cell to the inside the vessels. Okay, inside the vessels or inside the tube, from the blood circulation to the, that is secretions. Fourth one is excretion. Okay, can see here what is the function, which is the function occur, or what are the functions occur in which place. Glomerulus, it filtrates the small amount of the solutes from the blood and more the blood, or it more the water content. Proximal convoluted tubule, it is mainly reabsorb the ions. It may be sodium chloride, potassium, anyone. Okay, positive ions. Okay, water and nutrients, remove toxics and adjust filter the pH level of the urine. Okay, or on the blood. Third one is the Henle loop. Okay, in that there is 2 types of loops. One is ascending loop, another one is a descending loop. In descending loop of Henle, aquaporins allow water to pass from the filtrate into the interstitial fluid. There is reabsorption of a water will occur. Okay, and in that ascending loop there is reabsorption of the sodium and chlorine from the filtrate into the interstitial fluid will occur. And in distal tubules there is a selectively secretion and absorb the different ions to maintain the blood pH level and electrolyte balance. Okay, and in the collecting tubules there is reabsorbed, the most of water is reabsorbed in the collecting ducts. Okay, reabsorb solutes and water from the filtrate. This is the functional, which part is have the which function in that. Okay, in that you can know that in the proximal convert, in the Bowman's capsule or glomulus there is a filtration occur, and in the proximal converters there is reabsorption, most is occur reabsorption of the sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, chloride, bicarbonate and water, and urea, lactate, vitamins, proteins, amino acids, everything is reabsorbed. Okay, and here secretion, which what is the secretion occur? Anion and ammonia, urea, creatine and some drugs are here secreted. In the Henle loop there is reabsorption of a water. The loop directrix are works on the which ascending loop of the nephron. And in the distal convoluted tubules there is reabsorption sodium, chloride, water and ions occur. And in distal tubule there is secretion of potassium, anion and ammonia occur, and reabsorption water and urea in the collecting tubules. You can see some diary it is not used for you, but it is comes under in physiology. I will just briefly explain. Okay, some diuretics, potassium sparing diuretics, loop diuretics and osmotic diuretics. Okay, and sodium channel diuretics or vasopressins, like this all are work on the this. Potassium sparing means they are block the secretion of a potassium. Okay, that is potassium sparing. Thiazides work on the sodium. Okay, they block the reabsorption of a sodium. Okay, loop diuretics, they works on the sodium, potassium and chloride. Okay, there stops the reabsorption of a sodium and potassium and chloride. And loop also it is has a stops the reabsorption of a loop diuretics. And osmotic diuretics mainly on the osmosis. Okay, on the there most of osmotic diuretics are works on the proximal convoluted tubule and the descending Henle loop. Okay, and this is the cortex. In cortex daily or in minute 300 or daily 300 ml urine, and it is 1200 in the medulla. Okay, it is one short example for which diuretics work on here. Menthol is a osmotic diuretics work on the Bowman's capsule and proximal convoluted tubule. Okay, furosemide means calcium channel or loop diuretics. Okay, they are work on the ascending Henle loop. Then potassium sparing thiazides. Okay, they are work on the distal convoluted tubules. Then spironolactone means potassium sparing, they work on the late distal convoluted tubules and collecting duct. Okay, like that there is function. Say here proximal tubules, where what are the diuretics work on the proximal tubules? Mannitol, dopamine, phendodolam and acetozolamide. In loop directors furosemide, torsemide, bumetamide, okay, ethacrenic acid. And thiazide are work on the distal convoluted tubule. There are hydrochlorothiazide, metolazone, chlorothiazidone, chlorothiazide. amyloid spironolactone potassium sparing work on the collecting converted tubules like this. You can see here in this osmotic diuretics, proximal converted tubule and descending anal loop. Loop diuretics, they are block the sodium channel. Okay, contrasporter. Okay, like this function is there. Filtration, first occur filtration, then reabsorption and secretion, and further secretion, like that. Then applied anatomy of a kidney. Okay, there are congenital anomalies in that unilateral or bilateral agenesis, not proper formation of a kidney, horseshoe shaped kidney, congenital polycystic kidney, ectopic kidney. Abnormal renal arteries may arise from the aorta or superior mesenteric artery. Infection, there is pyonephritis, pyelonephritis, nephritis, and renal failure. This is a unilateral renal agenesis, in that not proper formation of a kidney in the only one side renal is proper formation, another side is not proper formation of a kidney. This is a polycystic kidney. This is a ectopic kidney. This is a horseshoe shaped kidney. This is a pyelonephritis or pus collection in the pyramids of the in the medulla. Okay, pyramids of a kidney. That is pyelo means pus, nephritis means inflammation. Pyo, it is also said as a pyonephritis. And see here in this pyramid there is a collection of a pus. This is pyonephritis. Then calculus or stones formations. Then this is a hydronephritis, means collection of a fluid or water in the kidney. Hydro means water, nephrons means in the kidney, hydronephrosis or in the kidney. Thank you very much.